I am super excited here. So let's see, Donna, I have an assistant here and I will tell you more about Donna. So go ahead, Donna, if you want to have a seat right there and I will call you up in just a second. So we're just getting organized, guys. This is my first in-person class in like 2 years. So I'm so excited. I've been like a giddy girl this morning. So, okay, so today what we're going to get started on is fighting cancer, slowing down, halting, tripping up cancer through food. So number one lifestyle way we can change things that are going on with our health. So you are going to drool with the food and you're just going to be amazed, flabbergasted with the things that you're going to learn about food. So a couple housekeeping things to get started. Hopefully everybody got a binder in the mail. So if not, it should be coming really close. And for those that are in person, we've got the binders here. Let's see, I am recording this. I do want to say a disclaimer. I never know how these recordings end up. So I will do my best to put it together and have it to you in 2 days. So, but the recording is just a way for you to review some stuff. If you have to excuse yourself for a second, come back, you can listen to it. So the other thing is, I have this series. I am doing a pre-assessment and it's I'm trying to figure out a way that we can look at measuring what happens in this class, and it's tricky. So I'll just leave it at that. But those that are virtual, I will email you that assessment, pre-assessment. It's just a couple questions. It's really easy. And also, I want to know where you heard about the class, because we're always wanting to know where our energy is best to be promoting the classes. Let's see. Welcome letter. If you can flip to the welcome letter, that's the first page in your binder there. And it has a welcome letter of all what to expect in the classes, but bolded at the bottom, it says, what do you want to get out of this class? So I just want you to think on that a moment. We'll come back to that. So I want to now introduce somebody special. So new this time around, I have sought out a assistant to help me here. It's a little crazy if you're here in person. It's fun crazy. So Donna has agreed to help me out here in the kitchen. So Donna's going to step up here. I'm going to step out of kind of the area of the camera for you guys at home, and she can just tell you a little about her story.
Okay, sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Donna, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer in July of 2020. And my daughter had just recently graduated from chiropractic school in February, and she approached me and said, Mom, would you consider a more natural way of helping your body out during all of your treatments? And obviously, I was very open to that. I've always been very interested in nutrition. And so she did a lot of research. It was also her way of coping and dealing with my diagnosis. And so I took it very seriously, and I followed everything that she had told me, and have just taken a real liking and enjoyment of changing my eating. I thought I ate pretty healthy before, but as we all know, there's always room for improvement. And so I have, like I said, taken it very seriously and have made changes. I felt very grateful that God had carried me through this journey, and I had such a great outcome, and that it was just my responsibility to take care of myself the best that I was able to after my diagnosis. So that's my story.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, so it's wonderful to have her here. So she's been through the journey. So and she's here to help out and here to let you know that this makes a difference, what you eat.
Yeah.
So okay, let's see. Big thank you to Trinity Health Foundation, so who supports the classes, and Gilda's Club. So big supporters of the classes that make them free for the community. We just love that. We also have a hidden web page that hopefully you've had a chance to click on and see, but just a real quick rundown on that hidden web page that we've created for this class. It has, of course, how you join the class virtually, but also if you scroll down further, it actually has the recipes for each week, and it has pictures of the ingredients, just some of the ones that I've used locally. so that you can have a better grasp of what to be looking for, and some shopping tips and kind of like a shopping list is there too. So that's all there on that hidden page so that you have it available. The welcome letter is there too, just in case you didn't get the binder. So that's all there. That's going to be there the whole class for you guys. So I also love pictures. If you make any of the dishes, or if you want to share a dish that you make that you're like, this is spot on to what Teresa's been saying, I love, just email it to me. So I love hearing from you. I'd love to right now just take a pause, and anybody that's thought through an answer to what is it you want to get from these classes, that on the welcome page, that question, what that answer is. If you want to take yourself off mute, those people that are at home, and just shout out or send it in the chat, what is the one thing that you want to take away from these classes? So, and those here in person, you're welcome to shout out what it is that you want to take away from these classes. Anybody here want to share? Elaine, you want to share what you want to get out of this class?
It's like coming to a restaurant, a new restaurant with all healthy food, and I don't have to think. That's what I like about it. In other words, I'm going to learn recipes and I don't have to debate whether it's healthy or not.
Awesome. Awesome. So that was Elaine that just shared. She said it's like coming to a new restaurant and you don't have to think. You just know everything's going to be healthy. So awesome. Yes. Anything else?
I want to learn that it's possible to fit this into a busy day, eating healthy.
Mary shared that she wants to know it's possible to fit this into a busy day. And that's a big thing, because I know people are super busy. They want this. So we've got to make it happen with that. So excellent. Okay. So go ahead and send it to me. I'll catch you. If you want to send what it is you want to get out of the class, make sure on that welcome letter that you write that down there. Now, making sustainable changes is tough. It is tough, and I'm here to support you and show you the way. I'm going to share a lot of concepts throughout classes that are kind of on the psychology and the mindset, because those are really important things to bring into this new journey that you're doing. I'm going to share best practices. In the end, though, you know you best. And I want you to know that I'm here to support you, but you will learn what you need to know. You'll get the inner wisdom to make the changes that you need to make. And you're going to make positive changes. You're going to see results. So I want you to just say that to yourself right now. I will make positive changes. I will see results. You are here and it will happen. So the 4 classes are going to positively impact your life. I guarantee that. And I realize you're busy, and making this commitment is huge to be here. So I will make your time valuable. So let's dig in. So give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Thumbs up if you believe cancer is greater than 10% caused by an inherited gene. So thumbs up if you think greater than 10% for cancer caused by an inherited gene. Thumbs down if you think it's less than 10%. So we got some thumbs up, some down. Okay, it's actually 5 to 10%. 5 to 10%. So there's a lot you can do with lifestyle. And actually, it's about 30 to 40% is what's estimated that cancers can be prevented with healthy lifestyle. So now I can't guarantee you're not going to get cancer or recurrence, but I can guarantee through your eating that you can slow it down. You can become stronger. You can trip it up. So you are in the place you need to be. Now, a bonus that I'm going to offer is if you come to all 4 classes, at the end, I will give you a list of what we know as the strongest research foods. So now these might change in 5 years, but what we know for the research, and I do keep on the cutting edge of research, well-researched, not kind of out there. I'm watching the out there, but as strong as we can get when it's okay to start recommending, I'm keeping tabs. And I actually review research for a continuing educational health professional company. And so that gives me access to the cutting edge information in this field. So, okay, Real quickly, a little bit about me. As you know, I just absolutely love teaching these classes. As far as health goes, I call myself a health enthusiast. I have not battled cancer yet. My mother has had it 4 times. She had it at 52 first, breast cancer. She did have another breast cancer recurrence in the other breast. So I'm high risk and watching that. She is 81 and she's about to take off to go to Australia for 3 weeks. So she's remarried. So when she got her first diagnosis at 52, she changed her eating, exercise, and stress. So those are definitely responsible for her lifestyle now. She's extremely healthy. You wouldn't know, that she's battled all these cancers. So that has been the great example for me. Okay, so we're going to get going with these truths and myths for cancer. So I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to hop over. So, and so many gifts are out there for you. So don't give up trying. So just like anything else, I got a new sewing machine for Christmas. And so I had to spend hours figuring out tension and, making mistakes and breaking a needle even, so those are things that you go through, anything you're trying out. So just know that this is fun and you're going to discover amazing recipes. It isn't boring, okay? We are going to wake up your taste buds like they've not been on before, woken up. So, and dishes that don't turn out, you learn from. And sometimes, you're like, I'm going to figure this one out. So, and some of my best recipes has come from substitutions because I didn't have an ingredient. So, there's so many learnings. So just keep with it. Baby steps, second thing, really important. And I know I have in the room some very ambitious, high achieving individuals. Okay. So, and this is a journey that you need to go at baby steps. And we don't push through like we do in work and school, that we just want to push and get it done. Instead, we need to take it baby steps because we want this to happen like automatically in our life. We want it to happen so that when it doesn't happen, we feel like something's missing, but we're like, what? What did I miss? So it's something that goes on undetected in the background. So I like to say we have a lot of successful, intelligent, unhealthy people in the world because they use that same approach and it doesn't work in lifestyle change. Lifestyle change is about baby steps and just figuring out the small steps. You've got to seed the behavior first. And people think I just grab the whole big behavior. No, guys, you're seeding the behavior so that when stress comes, it won't be blown over the work that you did. You'll have the roots there. Okay, self-compassion, really important because like I've kind of been alluding, things are going to go awry at times. You're going to buy the wrong ingredient. You're going to forget an ingredient. You're going to burn, but not my recipes. You might burn a recipe, but, and you might overeat, and these are all okay. So they all have learnings in them too. And I always say, if you don't see what the gift, the learning is, it's going to come back probably at some future point. So when things go awry, what can I learn? Go ahead, get frustrated for just a moment. And then, okay, what is it in here that I can learn and take with me as I move forward? So everyone struggles. We are programmed to overeat. We're programmed for fear. So those things are going to get in the way here and there. But just, skip the guilt, the shame, the labeling things as bad. Okay, just pick up and move forward. There's a lot of gifts here. Last thing, have fun. So this is for life, and I want you to find a way to have fun. And I don't know if you picked up, but I always have during my classes a glass of water in wine glass. So, and that's because I want to remind you that you have fun whichever way you want. So, and there's all different ways you can do it. You can have music while you're preparing in the kitchen. You can have podcasts that you listen to. You can have special dishes that you get just because you're doing this for yourself, investing in yourself. So those are my tips. And you gotta go with those if you really want to make this something that you're going to stick with long term. Now I have one bonus one, and that is you are choosing to do this. You're not should, you're not I need to. It's I'm choosing to invest in my health. I'm choosing to figure out dishes that I love. And that really changes your mindset when you start to use choosing. I've even used it when I do the dishes. I'm choosing to do the dishes. It's a good trial run. So, okay, so let's get into Miss and Bruce. So, big one here. Does sugar feed cancer? Well, the problem is it's not black and white. So, every cell in your body needs glucose. That's a form of sugar. Well, the mistake people make is they're like, well, if every cell needs sugar, then I'll just eat sugar. That'll work. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because your body wasn't programmed for these blasts of sugar. It prefers whole foods. And it's going to break the whole foods down into their building blocks, and then it will digest and absorb. So it needs complex. These kind of balance of things happen that it needs, and it does complex really well. And people miss the point that your body does not do as well when you just feed it sugar foods like donuts, refined carbs, pasta, white pasta, big bowls of these. These processed forms of sugar, because even pasta breaks down very quickly to sugar, sets your body off balance, and it's like an alarm goes off in your body. It really is. Just think of it like this, all alarms going off when you eat this surge of sugar, and your body does unhealthy, undesirable things with these blasts of sugar. Now, what about the nasty evil cancer cells? Well, they love refined sugar. They are pretty simple-minded, and they do well with blasts of sugar. So both healthy and unhealthy cancer cells need sugar, but the form it is in makes a huge difference. When you eat whole grains, you get tons more than just molecules of glucose. It's broken down, and you get vitamins, minerals, fiber, and it's a slow release with all these other things in the picture. So even though glucose is tucked into the whole foods, it's different than just eating a blast of sugar, of refined carbs. So you want to eat whole foods, or as close to whole foods as you can. Now, blasts of sugar actually prompt other not good things, like your immune system being blocked. Your body also, when you get surges of sugar, says, oh, this is great for extra calories. I'm going to pack that in my belly. And much of your high sugar blasts go to your belly. And I don't need to go into, but that's not a good place. And in the process, your triglyceride goes up, because what your body does is it's really good at taking sugar into triglycerides. It's a process. And so triglycerides is what go in the bloodstream and travel to your belly, and then are stored as adipose or fat. So your triglyceride levels go up. So another food fact is cancer cells, they can make sugar even from other things. It's called gluconeogenesis. It's glucose. Neogenesis is creation new. So it can do that from fat and from protein. So again, there's no black and white answer. So for this, but you bottom line, eat whole foods, okay? And avoid, I don't mean no sugar ever, but no blasts of sugar. Really keep that in mind. So I do want to say a disclaimer here. If you're in treatment for cancer and you're losing weight, you're weak, a dietitian might recommend things like Ensure ice cream, things like that. That's a whole different kind of goal at that point. So then we do sugar. Okay, there's a purpose, a different goal than in prevention or survivorship. So just want to make that distinction. So a little bit about sugar in foods. 75% of packaged foods have sugar in them. And here are some of the top names. There are actually 61 possible names on the labels for sugar. So a couple a couple tricks there. If it sounds like it might be sugar, it is, okay? And if it has OSE, it's sugar. Dextrose, glucose, fructose, maltose, those are all going to be in your body converted to sugar in some way. In general, on the labels, you go to the ingredient list. I know you need a like a magnifying glass to look at that, but look at the ingredient list. And if the top 3 to 5 ingredients have a sugar name, just consider it high sugar source because they're listed by weight. So if sugar is in one of the top 1, it means it weighs a lot in that product. So top 3 to 5. A lot of people like numbers on the nutrition facts. I don't really do too much numbers. We'll go into it a little bit, but 10 grams of sugar added. They usually have now added sugar. That's 2.5 teaspoons. To me, that's getting to be too much. I mean, it depends upon what it is. If it's, maple syrup, of course, it's going to have some added sugar. But 10 grams is kind of the cutoff, easy number to remember that, you know what, I need to be careful. Should I do less? Should I substitute? Okay, is this just going to be a small part of it? So, okay. So, moving on. Does an alkaline diet starve cancer? False. Okay, the myth came about because scientists in the lab had cancer cells that grew, and they found they grew fast in an acidic environment. Well, guess what? A petri dish is not the same as your body. Okay, so little mini pH lesson here. So your body keeps your pH about 7.35 to 7.45, and it does that with 2 organs in your body that are the stars for your pH, and they are the kidney and your lungs. And they regulate your pH really well. That's one of their primary goals, and they don't have a problem doing it. They don't need help from food. So it's just like the thermostat in your house. They know when to kick in to keep it in that pH, and it does it really well. So it's just no big deal. Now, a lot of people will say, well, protein and alcohol are acidic. Should I eliminate? And, fruits and vegetables are alkaline. Well, here's the thing, though. When they hit the stomach, there's that, okay? The stomach is, you'll see on this chart, this is a real general chart. It looks about 1, but technically it's 1.5 to 3.5, your acid in your stomach. And it does that to kill some of the germs, the pathogens. And it also does that to start breaking the bonds and proteins. So there's you're not going to change the pH with the food you eat once it hits the stomach, okay? So there's just a lot of misconceptions with that. Okay, green tea, yes, okay? It has this big long name with an E, isocathecene gallate. It's usually called ECGC. So it's a super strong antioxidant. It does a lot of actually different roles with cancer that are great. It protects your DNA. It helps with stopping the growth and spread. And this is a really important thing when you start to get into cancer. It helps cells that it's time to say goodbye to go all the way. If those cells hang around, they're wonderful for feeding cancer. You want them gone. And that's what they help. They help get rid of abnormal cells. So the weight of proof with animal studies, very strong. With human studies, it's tricky. So we say it's inconclusive, but it does look really good for colorectal, prostate, breast, and ovarian cancers. So it's really hard to do a well-done placebo-controlled trial to see if tumors develop, okay? So we have to rely on what we call epidemiological evidence. That's looking at populations and disease. And green tea comes out as a star. So green tea without added sugar, great beverage. I recommend it. A couple tips. First, I wouldn't recommend it as your only go-to cancer strategy, just one of many, okay? And then if you're boiling, they say 170, so not boiling, just kind of, you can boil it and then pour it in. And the polyphenols are stable for high heat, but we just, for flavor purposes, we steep it about 3 to 5 minutes, ideally, again, just for flavor, not for the polyphenols. Now, here's where the polyphenols come in, iced. They cling to ice. So if you put ice in like a cold green tea drink, you got to drink the ice, okay? Or don't add ice. Milk is one of those tricky things. It's okay in your tea if you drink it fairly quickly, like less than an hour is what most of the research say. So you can't come back to it a couple hours and reheat it and then drink it because you're going to lose some of those polyphenols. Now, bottled drinks, their bottling and processing destroy a lot of the polyphenols. So I wouldn't count that. If you want to drink it, sure, on the road, but it's not going to be green tea like the strong ECGC. Now, matcha, a really good option. Matcha is basically ground up green tea or tea leaves that you drink. It does taste like grass. So I have a raspberry smoothie with a little that I kind of cover up. If you don't like green tea, I do recommend people have a matcha drink once a week. It's kind of equivalent, this is all general, to 8 to 10 cups of green tea. Okay, so that's an option if you're like, I can't do green tea. Now, when you look at teas, actually white, you might research, and white actually is the least kind of processed, and it has the most ECGC. Now, Ernie, you said you drinking some, right? Yeah. Okay, so Ernie here in class is drinking white tea. That's great. It's just a little harder to get hold of and pricier. So, but green tea comes next, and black tea still has some ECGC. So if you're like, Teresa, I can't do the green, but the black is okay. Okay, you know, you're doing something. It's okay. So herbs and spices, these are the top ones. Garlic, yes. Ginger, yes. Turmeric, yes. Now, all three are like the evidence from green tea. It's inconclusive, but we have the strongest for these three by far, and it's powder or fresh. I've looked at the studies, guys, because I see the studies, and I'm like, we got to check and see how much they were given. Were they given bathtubs full, or, you know, because yeah, that's what they used to do with the artificial sweeteners. They used to give them bathtubs full. So now I'll share some more nitty gritty details when we get to the recipes, but just know, yes. And food, drinks, these are all great to do. So, and research is ongoing, but I give, you know, the green light for these. Now, some others there, oops, let me go back. I didn't know. Cinnamon, yeah, go ahead and try cinnamon mustard. The evidence also is strong. With my coffee in the morning, I actually have started sprinkling cinnamon before the coffee dumps in because it stirs it up a little bit better. And actually, it's a nice flavor, cinnamon and coffee. So, you know, just little things like that are beefing up your plant quota, what you're eating. And don't stop there. Chili powder, we're going to do today, cumin, oregano, cilantro. So start thinking about what is the easiest spice for you to start increasing. Do it. Okay. It's a plant. It's got polyphenols, guys. I guarantee. So, a couple
question, even garlic powder would have some polyphenol?
Yes.
Maybe less of it?
Yes. There's one you haven't asked about, the garlic, minced garlic. Okay, in the jar, in the store. I'm an advocate of if you're brand new to cooking in the kitchen with garlic, start there. But it's washed. So I'm going to try to get you over, and today I'm going to show you some fun ways to deal with garlic. But for most people, if they haven't been in the kitchen, garlic mincing is a pain. So I want you to still flavor it nicely so you eat it. So, okay. Supplements in general, not recommended. I'm just saying generally across the board. Now, because the evidence is limited and it's a little tricky to get what you think you're getting, and we know whole plant food is best because there's competition for transporters and things like that get tricky when we get a supplement. Now, if your doctor recommends a supplement, do it, okay? And there's a couple case scenarios, but I'm not going to dish out individual choices here. But just know, in general, you can't go wrong with plant whole-based food. So I kind of think of it like an orchestra. If you listen to Beethoven's Fifth, the orchestra is just going to move you magnificently. But if you listen to one instrument trying to play that, it's night and day. And that's kind of where we are with supplements versus whole food. So you want the full effect. So last thing, and we're going to wrap it up. I'll be beefing up phytochemicals and just talking. But phytochemicals, phyto means plant. Chemicals just means compounds. I throw out the word chemicals, nutrients, compounds. They're all the same. They're only found in plants, guys. We have identified about 25,000. We think there's about 40,000. But here's the bottom line, because I don't have time to go way into it. But plants don't have the advantage that we have of going indoors, turning on the heat, or cooling off, or putting on suntan lotion, or calling the police when there's intruders, okay? I know that sounds very simple, but it's a way of understanding that plants have to evolutionarily create their own defense systems. We can wimp out and call other people, okay? So the ones that grow to fruit are ones that have developed these strong systems that we eat, and they are gems inside of us. So we're eating their defense systems, and we don't have to call anybody. So that's the great thing, and that's where there's, we need to get a bunch of colors. Do you know there's over 50 antioxidants? So when I say the word antioxidant, I don't mean just vitamin C. I mean all kinds of them. That's why you have to, and next week we're going to talk about the colors of the rainbow, not because they're pretty, but because they're super valuable. So, okay. So the last thing here is in your binder, and I'm going to move to the down just, but I want to take a pause because you are not here just to hear great information. You are here to move the needle on your health a lot. And you're going to have to do that by integrating some of the things you learn. Baby steps. I'm thinking of a couple of you right now. Baby steps. So think about, I've given you some action steps. You don't have to use these, but I'm just trying to help you think. So you can pivot from these, you can do different ones. If you know something that's a baby step you want to work on, great. But I want you to set an action step. Next week, we'll review it, and you might have learnings. You might not have made what you thought in your action step. That is A-okay, and maybe in some cases even golden. So, but you got to set the intent. So I've got them on the screen there. You've got them in your binder. It's at the end of the week. And I want you to name one that you're confident in doing. So there's lots of possible ones there. So, okay, I think it's time to get going. So we're going to get back and we're going to get over to the camera. I am going to get started. And so we're going to start out with, of course, donuts. So anybody excited about donuts? I am. So, okay, so here we are going to get the dry ingredients first. We're going to put these together. And the dry ingredients, one of the secrets that we're going to use, and we can go ahead. Can you put that back on the chair? Because I think I want everybody to see up here. We're going to use white whole wheat flour. It's a new flour-ish that's available to consumers. And it uses it's like Fuji apples and Gala apples. It's a different breed, that's all. So it's still flour, it's still whole grain, but it's a little lighter in color and a little softer. But it's still got all three layers, so you can't substitute in all your recipes white whole wheat flour. We usually say you can do half, except for cakes. I would do about a quarter substitute for original recipe. But for muffins and biscuits and stuff, you could probably go half substituting and half all purpose. So we're going to put that in. Okay. So you want to go ahead and put the baking powder there. I've got baking powder. This is low sodium there. Baking products, bread products, actually are very high in salt, and part of it is from just leavening and stuff, but we just have it in stuff. This is half, if you do a lot of baking, this is half the sodium. It's 30 milligrams versus 60 in regular. And you can usually get this in Walmart and Hy-Vee, with COVID-ish, sometimes a little hard, but we got that. There is a little salt in here, okay? You can try to cut back. Salt is something, it's not evil, it's just we have too much. So a little bit here and there is fine. Cinnamon, we're going to add cinnamon there. Cinnamon, a great spice to add. And we're going to go ahead and mix that up there. And I'm going to get going the wet ingredients here and do that in my food processor. And I will take away this while you just take that. And wet ingredients. Here's where the fun begins here. So we're going to start off with
some chickpeas. So chickpeas are actually a golden thing. So you can do a lot of things with them. So we're gonna add that, rinsed, drained, and no added salt. You save around 400 milligrams in your beans per serving when you switch to no added salt, guys. Now if you rinse them, it's about 185 you save. So still, 400, that's a lot of savings. So then we're going to do just a couple eggs here. And I can't believe how the price of eggs, oh my goodness. So we're also going to use a little sweetener, maple syrup. Maple syrup is sugar. It's not anything magical. It has come down a lot in price from like 20 years ago. It's better. I think it's nicer than sugar, a little less processed, and it's got flavor. So in baked products, it's nice to use that. So vanilla. So we're going to add vanilla and a little bit of oil. You go ahead and add that there, Donna. So, and then we're going to add some sweet potato. Yes, to give it some more binding. So the sweet potato, what I did was I chopped up a little, kind of an overflowing cup because it shrinks when it steams. But this is one thing, if you don't have a microwave steamer like this, I recommend. Now, you can do it all different. It's vented in the top. I just do it 2 to 3 minutes, and it cooks things evenly. It's amazing. So I use this all the time. It even melts chocolate perfectly. So we're just going to add that in there. Now, I have we did 1 cup. This is going to be our, is it 1? Yeah, it's 1 cup. You only need a potato like this size. This will be even more. And when there's more, you just save it and use it for other things and roast it and add it to things. So just be careful when you're cutting up a sweet potato. It's pretty dense. So usually what I do is cut it in half and then stack it up so I have a flat edge. As soon as you can, you want a flat edge because we don't want any accidents with a knife. So, and then our secret ingredient is yogurt. So we grab a spoon here and you can add that. Now yogurt has that, like this is Greek yogurt, a lot of protein, and we got a lot of fiber from the sweet potato. Sweet potatoes are great for glycemic control, insulin resistance, guys, really great. And then we've got the fiber and the protein. You won't believe beans out of the kazoo with protein. People don't realize, like a half a cup is like 30 grams. Like it's amazing. So we've got all that and the fiber packed in there. It's great. Now the Greek yogurt adds protein, but it also is going to bind it. And it actually is pretty cool because it's acid, and that acid is kind of like baking soda. You know, we didn't add any baking soda, but we got the baking powder, so it's going to work with the baking powder and it's going to give it height. So I use this in cookies too, rather than applesauce. I started, and it doesn't, if I eat the batter plain before I cook it, I can kind of pick up that yogurty. But when I cook it, I don't. So it works really, whereas applesauce and cookies, it kind of goes flatter. So I really like the yogurt. It's my go-to for baked products now. So we're gonna go ahead and just process this. Oh, it would help if we're plugged in, so. Enough. So what I'd like to do is we're going to go ahead and mix this in here, add this to, and I'll get the baggie ready. Donna, if you can add this in here and stir that. Because we're going to pipe. I've got my nice donut. If you don't have a donut pan, you can start with muffin. And then you can use an apple core to punch out the center. I think I have an apple core somewhere here. But you can make it your own donut. And if you don't have a muffin pan, actually, a trick is to take the wrappers. Well, I'll show you in the end, but 2 wrappers usually is enough to stand in a baking sheet. And you just spray the cup and put the batter in there and make a muffin without a muffin tin. And then just poke out a center, and you've got your own donut. So some nonstick. So, and let's see where somewhere here there it is. So piping, okay, just a couple tips on piping. First of all, did you know there exist baggies that don't have right-hand corners? Oh, I tried that one. I was like, really? There's a baggie? I have tried. It doesn't work real well unless you have a right-hand corner like this. So you wanna, usually I just roll it down. This helps. And then we're just gonna go into one corner there. So I'm just gonna scoop a couple here to show you how we do this. And then I do this because I'm not real steady with the hand putting it into the donut pan. So I found this is the best way to go. So I'm just going to do like that so you can see I would fill the whole thing. And actually this batter I was able to, I'm gonna grab scissors here, fill the whole batter into this. It got pretty full the other day when I did because I have some ready for you guys here. So you can just clip off the end here.
We're relieved to know that.
Yes, because we're not gonna have time to make these. So you can see there, you wanna fill, if you overfill it, the problem I run into, because it's very tempting to fill this more, is they don't fall out as easily. I have to do the knife trick, and sometimes the knife trick doesn't work to release it all. I don't know, it's just been my learning. So be careful about overfilling. Sometimes I do kind of spread that down a little bit, but put that in the oven, and these need to cook about, I think 10 minutes it was. 10 to 12 minutes, and just let them sit for a few minutes, and then you can flip them out. So, yes. So, and before we get going, I'm just going to show you real quickly the finished product. So, here we go. Here's the finished product. So, I made frosting with Greek yogurt, a little bit of sweetener, and vanilla. You can pick up a little bit of that sourness. The best thing, honestly, is non-fat cream cheese, but that is so hard to find. Since COVID started, it's like disappeared off the shelves. So it's a nice ingredient to make things. So if anybody starts finding them back on the shelves, let me know. But this isn't good, just a lot. And I just chopped up some chocolate there. You can dust it with a little powdered sugar. I've done freeze-dried strawberries. And I've had people from class that, for their grandkids, make a donut bar. And you just, have the frosting, the donuts, and then you have all the different toppings. And then, it's a bunch of fun. So it's just, and these donuts are going to fill you up much better than Krispy Kreme, okay? I know they don't taste the same, but I don't even want a Krispy Kreme donut because I pay attention to it. And after I have a whole Krispy, it's been years since I had, but I'll have one and I'll be like, I need another. It didn't seem like it did anything. It's just like air. It just is gone. And it's that sugar rush. And then I need food an hour later because it's just gone through my system and I'm grumpy. So, okay. So let's make the home style wraps. So I'm super excited about this. So there's a lot of great things with this. So on Christmas, my 26-year-old daughter, she loves to play around with food. And she wanted to make beef Wellington, okay? So I learned a lot about, I don't cook with, whoa, is that expensive. But she made for me a vegetarian Wellington with mushrooms. It was to die for with a port sauce. So, and I mention that because we're taking things from all different angles and putting it together for plant-based. And that's what we're doing today with this home style wraps, is we're taking kind of a ground beef taco mixture and we're making it even better with some differences in texture and differences in flavor, but you might find you even like it more. Or maybe you're like, I gotta add something to it. So I want you to start thinking that way. So, okay, so we are going to talk about garlic first. I have already minced the garlic so that it's been sitting for 10 minutes, but we'll talk more about why it's important to sit for 10 minutes at another point. But garlic, there's a couple different ways you can get the garlic broken open. We've got the bowl with the cloves, so you can just take it and like that, okay? So you can also shake it. Another fun way, we can get off the peels is to take, because there's that outer peel we gotta get, so we can actually shake it so you can get your exercise. It does take a lot of shaking, okay? So, but it will start to peel off the layers there. What I usually do is a little different. I usually will take my knife and just find the in-between and just kind of wiggle it to get out the clove. Now, sometimes I'll just cut a little nip. It just, I'll show you, you can cut the top and bottom if you want to. It makes it a little easier if it's a big one like this. But you don't have to do that. What you can do is just nicely put the chef's knife on there and do that, and it separates the skin. So even if I don't clip the top and bottom, it will come off, but sometimes it's a little easier if you clip the top and bottom. So we get this, and we've already smashed it, so we're letting the juices out, which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to then just mince that there. And then I'll let it rest. So that's how you mince garlic. It does take a second, but once you do it over and over and over, it's no big deal. So but if you're new to the kitchen, do the jar garlic. 1 clove is a teaspoon and a half of the jar garlic. So, okay, so I've got my garlic there. So the other thing I want to show you before we kind of get commencing with the whole dish is red onion, how to cut up a red onion. So there's many different myths about onion. Basically, the stuff that makes you cry is around the root here. Okay, that's the root. Here's the stem. So the best way I find is keep the root intact. Definitely don't cut it off and touch your eyes. So you can freeze it and do things like that to kind of keep the juice from moving. That will work, but that's a pain. You can also put it in a paper towel, also a pain, because you gotta let it sit for a couple minutes. This is the easiest way. I cut off the stem, so I have that flat edge. I go through the root, okay? But I didn't take off the root. We got a real nice onion there with the lines there, see? So the next thing I do is I peel back the onion, and with the red onions, I'm careful because a lot of the polyphenol, the good plant stuff, is in the outer layer, okay? And so we want to keep that as much as possible. It is tricky, especially when you have gloves on. Wow, this is actually doing pretty good. There is like a scaly kind of layer. You want to take that off because your knife might catch it. It is tricky. Sometimes I run it underwater. It helps. I did one earlier, so because I knew I would probably run into a problem. But you can bring that back. You don't even have to take it off. You see how I kind of peeled that back? Some of it fell off. Just get it out of the way there. But I have my half. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a horizontal cut. This is the trickiest cut. So you need to pay attention. Just go. And if you need to swivel it a little bit to get back, don't go through the root. Now if you've got a really fat one, high one, I will do another cut like here, especially if I want small pieces. So next, I'm going to kind of follow the lines in a straight way of the onion. You know, it's got those pretty lines down. And I don't know why, I think of an umbrella. I don't know why. So I always think of an umbrella when I'm cutting this. So however thick you want your pieces, you want to make your lines. Now, you see the root has performed a function. It's holding everything together. And now I am ready to just chop. So I'm just going to start, and it's going to fall apart nicely there. Pretty evenly for Mother Nature made item. So there we go. So now I've got my chopped onion. So red onion has that pungent flavor. It's really filled with a lot of great stuff for us. So I use red onion all the time. So I've already got my red onion there, so I'm going to just put this here. Okay, now it's time to get going. I know we're getting close. Think about your action step. I want to make sure you have an action step before you leave, before we get to the hour. So a couple things we're going to just rush through real quick. You can put this in the blender, or you can just mash. What we're trying to do is kind of make crumbles like. Okay, we don't want it smooth like refried beans. We want it, some of them mashed and some of them partial. So I could throw it into the blender. And you don't need just a little bit to get a little bit of it gone. But all I want is a little bit. So you see that there? That's about enough. Okay? So whatever you end up doing is perfect. So for the walnuts, we're just gonna chop these up a little. I'm gonna have Donna put that in this blender here. We can use a paper towel. Get that off. Making a mess is a must in the kitchen, so it makes it much more fun. So, there it is. Okay. So, we're just going to, again, grind up the walnuts a little bit so that it's kind of like ground meat. So, that's what the effect of this is. I know something's not going to be like totally 100% food, but it gives it the sense. So, I'm going to get cooking over here, and we're going to switch to the other camera so that you can see me cooking. Okay, so you see over here now? Yeah, that's fine. That just made one more pulse and I think that's good. So we're gonna get the saute pan. I recommend the largest saute pan that you have so that you can cook it and kind of brown it, because that's what we're trying to do. So we're going to put a little oil. We'll talk about olive oil as we go, but I am a big advocate of being picky about your olive oil because there's a lot of power in olives if they're extra virgin. In other words, if they're manually processed rather than chemically. So big difference. So we're going to add our teaspoon of the olive oil, and then next we're going to we minced that, we've got our spices ready. So, yes, okay, we're gonna add our walnuts, spices, and onions. So, okay, I'm gonna get that, kind of shake that around. Okay, and we're gonna go, let's see, let me turn this down just a tad. There we go. Okay, walnuts. That's good. Okay, we're gonna add our beans, and we've got all these spices. Remember we talked about spices, so spices very important. You can double these spices. If you're like, no, Teresa, that's just not strong enough for me, because when we start taking out the salt, out the sugar, you're gonna need to really ramp up the spices, like go crazy with spices, because your taste buds are gonna be feeling a little left out. So, okay, we're gonna add onions now, and actually, typically with the garlic, a little trick with garlic. Typically, if we want the best flavor for it, I'm gonna create a well for it, because I want the heat to match with it and cook it, but not burn it. So I'm just gonna give it a little room there. And once you smell in your home kitchen the garlic, that's your key that it's time to mix it in, okay? It's easy to burn garlic. So you want to, now in this kitchen, it's so big and arid that we're not gonna smell. I can kind of smell the garlic, but I think it's the red onions actually. I think like that. Yes, yes, so don't be afraid to up the garlic too. But essentially what we're doing here, and I'm gonna go ahead and assemble because we're at the top of the hour. It's a little undercooked, but you know, it's a plant, so we can't, there's no harm there. What we're doing is creating a very strong, flavorful, kind of ground beef, what we're familiar with, mixture. Now, you could add mushrooms if you wanted to, cook them maybe separately and add them. I don't know, you play around with it, but I'd probably up the spices too. So, walnuts are very great for cancer and heart. Walnuts are they're one of the highest antioxidant nuts. So I eat them every day. So 7 a day, lower heart risk. They help with tumor necrosis. So it's that with the beans, it's a really great combination here. So, and we're going to even make it better by adding some green, leafy greens. So, real quick, romaine lettuce, when you store it with a damp paper towel over the roots, back into either a plastic bag, lightly sealed, it doesn't have to be tightly sealed. That will help it keep like days longer. So, I'm just going to tear off this, grab a plate, smell it, and I'm going to assemble it. Now, I already cooked the rice here. We didn't have a chance to cook that, but I'm just going to scoop out a little bit of that. And a little bit of my kind of meat-like mixture. And it will get a little browner once we cook it a little longer. And then even more flavor with the salsa, cilantro. And cilantro I store like this. It stores like 20 days. We'll talk more about that. And the last touch that I love is the avocado. Now I have a lot of avocados at home, but if you want to get these avocado, make sure it's wholly avocado. You can freeze these, because I know sometimes you don't go through them all, but I'm just going to take, an avocado is super anti-inflammatory, guys, super. It's got fiber, it does have fat, but it's a good type of fat. So I use it as an accent all the time. So, and the nice thing about this is, again, you can just use one little and have the others in the freezer. So, so there you go. Another way to serve this, which I'm going to serve for the people here, is to just take lettuce and just chop it up and just put that as the bottom layer. Whenever you can, you want to work in dark greens, and we don't do it enough. So just start thinking. All the time I have rice, I usually have a layer of spinach or dark greens that goes with it. It's just a mindset I've started doing. So there you have it. So we've got our home style wrap. You can wrap it and eat it, or just chop it up and eat it however you want. If you don't have romaine, have spinach. And also another great, my other daughter the other day had Napa cabbage and put it on a plate. Napa cabbage makes little, like nice little, and Napa cabbage is lighter than cabbage that we're used to in coleslaw. You can get it at Hy-Vee and any Asian store, and it keeps for like 2 to 3 weeks if you know how to store it, Napa cabbage. So that's another thing that she showed me. I was like, when I saw she had this plate of all the Napa cabbage, just really, I'm like, oh, that's a great kind of wrap. So other ideas, share with me what you come up with. Thank you. So we've got donuts and wraps, and next week we're going to just burst with color in rainbow wraps. And I have, for those of you who have been through class before, I have a new dressing for next week that's homemade. So with walnuts as one of the ingredients. So can't wait. So please, before you get up from your chair, set your action step. So it's all a learning. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Okay, we'll go ahead and continue to cook that. So, and I'll go ahead and set things out for those that are here. So you guys at home, I will get you your pre-assessments, and feel free to email me if you have any questions. Let me know how today went from your end. I will look at the recording and get that out in 2 days. So this is new stuff. I obviously need to work on the slides for when people are in person here. So I love a challenge. We'll figure it out together. And thank you again for sharing your time with me.